Tonight is going to be the first night of capture on a new project that I'm starting. I want to make a capture of M81 and M82, and I also want to make it my best ever capture of it yet. I'm hoping to achieve a super detailed, super smooth kind of rendition of this target. It's often eluded me because it's quite a difficult one to shoot from heavy light pollution like this, but I'm quietly confident, and there is a reason for that. And that's because I've got an ace up my sleeve. I'm not doing this alone. So this is actually going to be my first ever collaboration. It's going to be with a good friend of mine from Texas called Bill Blanchard, and he's a fantastically talented guy, not only just at imaging but at many other things. I'll leave it to him to explain what he's all about to you in a moment's time, but before that I think I'm going to give you a quick rundown of all my equipment on my side of things, and then I'll hand over to Bill. Well, as you may have already guessed from seeing it behind me, I'm going to be using my 10-inch Newtonian tonight. It's an f4.7 scope, it's got a 1200mm focal length, and I'm pairing it with the Skywatcher aplanatic coma corrector. The whole thing is going to be shot absolutely unfiltered from my Bode 7 skies here. There's currently on this night about a 70% moon just looking at things, so that's really not going to help matters, but still I'm going to try my absolute best. The camera I'll be using is a 2600 MC Pro, and I think I've settled on probably 5-minute exposures at 100 gain for this entire project. Now everything's going to be riding on top of the EQ8 Pro there behind me. It's the perfect imaging platform for this kind of thing. I have absolutely no complaints about this mount. It's everything I could have hoped for in a mount. The only thing I could ask for is that it was slightly lighter, but then it'd probably lose that insane stability that it has. Now finally, we've got an imaging target in mind of about 10 hours of integration time each. Just the best we can manage. We don't want to kind of be stacking any bad subs, but we'll take whatever we can get, I imagine, at this time of year. I know that he's been struggling with the weather, and I certainly know that I have too. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get both targets in frame comfortably. Certainly predicted field of view simulators seem to suggest that when we rotate our cameras both to 90 degrees, we should be able to fit M81 and M82 both comfortably in the shot and get a great image. Well, I think that just about covers all the introductions from me. So with that all said, I'm going to hand it over to Bill, and I'll catch up with you all a little bit later.
First and foremost, I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to do this collaboration with you. M81 and M82, the Bode and Cigar Galaxies, they're one of my favorite targets to shoot in the sky. So I think combining your images with mine, I think we're going to make a really good picture. So again, thank you. And I also wanted to say thanks for everything that you're doing, man. I mean, the stuff that you're doing on YouTube is it's pretty crazy. The image processing, even some of the lucky imaging stuff that you're doing and will be doing in future videos. It's yeah, I look forward to watching it. So you're doing a good job, man. You're being an inspiration to a lot of people. So keep it up. About me, well, I live on the other side of the pond. So I live on the west side of Houston in a town called Richmond. It's not the ideal place for doing astrophotography. My skies here are Bode 8, so they're heavily light polluted. But yeah, no. After watching some of the videos that you've done and some of the other guys that are on YouTube, learning a lot about the equipment to use, the processing, even the filters, you can pull off some really good images, and I've been able to do that. So again, thanks for that. And so yeah, let's talk about the equipment that I'm going to be using. So the telescope I'm going to be using tonight is the Takahashi 150B. This is a 6-inch refractor triplet, focal length of 1100 millimeters at a f ratio of 7.3. And I am going to be running at 7.3, so no reducer, so that my field of view is going to be pretty close to what you have on your Newtonian. I am running an autofocuser. I'm using the Radian autofocuser. And I'm also using a field flattener. This is the Takahashi 67 field flattener. For guiding, I'm using an off-axis guider with the ZWO ASI 290mm guide camera. And last but not least, for imaging camera, I'm using the same as you, the ZWO ASI 2600 MC Pro. For the mount, which will come as something familiar to you, is the Skywatcher EQ8. This is the RH version, so it has the encoders on the RA axis. And this has been probably my best investment so far in this hobby. So one of the most challenging things about astrophotography, it's not just setting the equipment up and taking a picture or processing the image, it's having to deal with the weather here. You know, we're in the south and we're also close to the ocean. So typically when a cold front comes through, it'll be windy the first day, so you can't shoot anything. And by the second or third day, if it's not strong enough, it'll turn into a warm front and come back and bring in a whole bunch of cloud and rain and moisture, and yeah, it sucks. Dealing with the dew temperatures, it's also very humid here. There's just dew everywhere. It can be a nightmare, but the most difficult thing is and this is something that won't be, it's not ever predicted on weather apps or even on radar. It doesn't show up on radar, but we'll get these low-level clouds that just come out of nowhere. Well, it actually comes out from the Gulf, and it just comes in and it ruins everything. In fact, here's a time lapse showing exactly that, and it happened last night. I got all this equipment set up, and then all of a sudden, boom. The minute that I start to slew to get to our target, it's cloudy. So yeah, it's been really, really challenging. But truth be told, when we started talking about this collaboration, it was mid to late December, and just so happens that we had clear skies then, and we haven't since then. So luckily, hopefully today we'll get some good shots. But I was able to get some shots around Christmas time, and that was also a bit of a challenge too, because that was when we had a full moon. So the background is illuminated quite a bit, but I looked at the stack and it actually didn't come out bad. So right now we have a waxing crescent moon, but by the time the target comes up to start shooting, it'll be below the horizon. So this is pretty much going to be the last time I'm going to have a dark sky, especially with the weather forecast showing just clouded out again. So yeah, hopefully, good luck. We'll get some good images tonight. Well, the sun has gone down. It's finally dark. It's around 7 p.m. But the wind has picked up quite a bit. In fact, I had to park my truck here to try to help shield the wind a little bit. So the weather app says the wind should be dying down in a few hours, but it's actually gusting pretty high right now, or at times anyways. So while I'm killing time, I'm just going to go focus at a star or a set of stars and do my tilt adjustments. Oh, it's cold. Last night was brutal. I mean, it got down to close to freezing, and with the wind, it felt colder, and I stayed up through the whole night, and I'm tired. I just wanted to make sure that everything ran smoothly. I knew last night was going to be my last night to image for a while. We got a lot of clouds coming in and rain, and then of course with the moon phase, it's going to start getting brighter every day. I needed to make the best of it. The wind actually didn't affect the mount too much, or the guiding, I mean. This mount is, man, it's sturdy, and even with this scope on top, it didn't really move much. So I got some good data. I got about 70 subs at 5-minute exposures, and yeah, so now it's time to go inside and warm up and put this data together. So Luke, I can't wait to see what all you've got, and yeah, let's put together a really good image.
Hey everyone, so it's about 3 weeks on or so, and I'm back and I'm shooting M81 and M82 again as part of this collaboration. I have to say, quite a lot has changed in those 3 or so weeks. I'm now, instead of using the ASIF for a while, I'm going to start using the mini PC for a little bit. I'm enjoying exploring what that has to offer. Indeed, I don't know if you can see just on the laptop here that I've got next to me, I'm running Nina now, which is something I really never thought I'd be doing, but I hear so much good about it. I just thought it was high time, really, that I made a start on getting to know that program and its features, and it does seem to be very, very good indeed. This is my first session out with it, and everything's going great, and so far absolutely no complaints. Now I'm pretty excited to say that tonight looks set to become just one of those nights, really, in the best way possible. It's freezing cold. I think we're running at 1% cooler power to maintain -5 degrees there on the camera sensor. There's not a breath of wind in the air, and also there's no hint of cloud, and the weather forecast suggests that it's going to stay that way right the way through till dawn. So I'm going to try and make the absolute most of tonight and capture as much data as I possibly can in order to replace that moonlit data from the earlier nights with good, clean data from a moonless night. Anyway, I'm going to head off inside for a while before I freeze to the ground here, and hopefully my laptop won't need chiseling off of these flagstones here. But anyway, we'll catch up with you soon, and hopefully with another update. Okay, so we're about 55 exposures into tonight's plan, and I think it's time I gave you a little bit of an update, and we can go take a look at the PC screen there, and we'll just see how things are moving along. So I know that recording my screen is hardly an ideal way to show you things, but hopefully you can still see what I'm talking about. The guiding tonight is almost perfectly flat. It's doing phenomenally well, and it's really showing on the sub exposures. I doubt that the camera's got the dynamic range to really show you how that's looking there on screen, the Cigar Galaxy, but my word does it look detailed. Those tiny stars are like pinpricks. They're just so tight and finely resolved. I have to say I'm extremely impressed, and I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing the results from this session. Well, I have to say I think the conditions tonight are pretty much nothing short of phenomenal, at least from my location. The seeing seems extremely steady. If I just look for a moment at a star, there's absolutely no visible twinkle. It's really quite odd to see. But I think one other thing that's added to the fact that I'm able to get these super sharp captures right now, aside from no wind and good seeing, which are major factors indeed, is that for this Christmas I actually got an Evo guide, which is a slightly longer focal length guide scope than I was using previously. I had been using a 9x50 finder scope with just a little adapter screwed in the back, and I believe that they're about 160mm of focal length, so trying to guide this 1200mm focal length scope on such a short guide scope was probably always going to be a problem, but the Evo guide is guiding at 242mm, which is perhaps much more in line with what I should have been using all along. Whatever's going on though, I have to say it's working, and I am one happy camper. Anyhow, I think that's everything from me for now, so I'm just going to continue to shoot on until dawn and maybe bring you another final update right before the sun starts to break. So let's just hope and pray that things keep going as well as they are right now. It's just gone 5 in the morning now, so we're entering the last hour of data capture on M81 and M82 for me, and I'll be honest with you, I can feel my brain slowing down each passing minute, so I thought I'd best come out and kind of try and wrap things up a little bit. So tonight I've managed to already at this point gather I think 106 subframes at 5 minutes each. Adding those to what I'm going to capture before dawn breaks and then the session prior to this, I think in total I'll have captured about 19 hours of data on M81 and M82, which is actually the most I've ever taken on any target so far, so that's a new first. Now I guess it goes without saying that the project isn't over yet. It certainly doesn't end the moment I carry my telescope inside, that's for sure. Me and Bill, we've got many hours of processing and editing ahead of us, I would have thought, to get this image to a place where it can be. I think we're going to have plenty of data to work with. Even though we're both shooting from quite light polluted locations, I think we're going to be able to overcome a lot of the challenges that brings up just by sheer brute force. I'd just really quickly like to take a moment and say a personal thank you to you, Bill, actually, for making this entire collaboration kind of come together. It's brought up certainly plenty of different challenges. It's not like making a video just for yourself, or indeed taking a photograph just for yourself. You've got other things to consider that actually had never really popped into my mind until we started doing this, and it's been a very positive experience, and honestly I would just like to say thank you. And so far it's been an absolute pleasure working with you, mate. I know we're going to encounter some more problems during processing, but I'm totally confident we'll overcome whatever it throws up, and I do hope that it's been a pleasure for you guys at home to watch too. Well, I'm about to freeze to the tarmac that I'm kneeling on right here, so I think I'd best wrap things up, and I'd just like to finish by saying thank you so much indeed to each and every one of you guys out there for watching. A huge thank you to all my YouTube channel members for the support that you're giving. Honestly, I really do appreciate it, and I think that's about everything I've got for you now, guys. So I hope that you've enjoyed the video. I really do, and until next time, clear skies.